Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about just the extent to which big finance controls our lives today, and in lots of many sort of micro ways. Now, the big headline stuff that the big finance engage in, the collusion with big finance and big pharma, that sort of stuff. That's big headline. You can't miss it. But down at the micro level, at the street level, there is a shitload going on that doesn't warrant or generate a headline, but is just as injurious to standard of living in the West. The sort of the well-paying jobs that are created, the entrepreneurial spirit, innovation, invention is all being killed off by big finance. So now I'll give you a couple of examples. I've been aware of some of these things before, but I've got a recent very good example of it, and I'll sort of tell you how it works. Indirectly, we got involved with a smallish company that they manufacture plastic containers, that sort of thing. And they were small sort of family business. A couple of brothers owned it, and all the family members worked there, like the wives and the girlfriends and the cousins, all this sort of stuff. And they employ a couple of labourers, I think, and they've got a small number of customers. They do all right, I suppose. I can't imagine the owners would be making much more than the average wage if it wasn't for the fact that the other family members are working there and they get some tax write-off type benefits because they've got a business. Wasn't for that, they could probably do better going getting a job. But anyway, they've got their own business. They're doing all right. Now, one day, a supposed management consultant comes knocking at the door and says, "You know what? I can arrange finance for you, and I can get you in. I can get your product, the plastics. I can get your product into the big national." Users of consumer goods that will need your plastic product. Now, this is a small company that doesn't have the production capacity to do. They're not professional enough. They've got no systems, procedures. There's no way they could access the capital, the funds to do it. There's no way their product is the best or the best priced. There's just no way they can get those sort of customers or expand. But this is not really what the management consultant's about. It's not really a management consultant. This is a stooge working for, if you like, a smaller offshoot of a BlackRock type firm. And their job is to vacuum up small businesses and turn them into sort of round robin little oligarch type oligopolies, sort of microeconomic cabals, where they just do round robin of money back and forth and then stick big fees in their pocket in the process. But none of it's market competitive. It's not the best product at the best price or the most innovative or the most capable none of that is taking place here. This is a small business making plastic, and they're never going to get any bigger than where they are. Now, there may be a business out there that does produce the best product, best price, who could win that business, but that's not going to happen anymore. There's effectively a form of socialist market control that they're going to bring in here. So this so-called management consultant's not a fucking management consultant. He's a flunky, and he works for the subsets or the smaller organisations that are owned and controlled by the BlackRock type guys. So what happens here is they go to this, they invest money in the plastics firm, as in they'll buy the latest plant or equipment and so on. They'll put their own people in there to effectively run the business. They'll let the family pretend like they're in charge, but the family won't be able to buy or sell anything. They won't be able to hire anybody. They won't be able to they won't be able to get an account to have a mobile telephone. Nothing. They will no longer make any decisions. They'll pretend to, and they'll again sit out front. But all decisions are now going to be made by the management firm, the management consulting firm, that is really just a stalking horse come stooge for the big financial firms. So, well, invest this money, then they'll go to the big plastics user the so-called buyer, maybe there's two or three of them, and they'll go to them and say, well, you have to now use plastics made by these guys. We do. Well, you do, because BlackRock is the biggest it may not be BlackRock, could be another one, but the financial, king daddy of the outfit here owns 60% of your shares. We decide who's going to be the CEO. We decide what your share price is going to be. We decide who you're going to hire in the executive suite. We decide who your board of directors are. So you will now buy your plastics from these guys. Okay, done deal. Nothing to talk about. Don't argue. That's how it is. So this plastics firm suddenly that's worth nothing is now worth gazillions. They've got all sorts of offshore money coming in to invest in this and buy that, tax write-offs, management fees from overseas that are going to prevent any profit from accruing locally. So all that profit will then go into the pockets of the offshore office of the financial firm. And so they do this round robin. But if this any business in that little group, that little cabal thing they're creating, wants to buy anything, they can only buy it from an approved supplier that these guys are also invested in. So again, if they want to get buy their mobile phones, they got to buy it from that mobile phone supplier. If they want to buy I don't know, get motor vehicle service, they've got to go to that and so on, because every business in the group is going to be owned by or controlled by, or both, probably more controlled than owned necessarily, but controlled by this same management consulting firm or its affiliates. So it'll have a web of affiliates. So it's just a round robin common. Now let's be clear about this. This is what would you call it? Profit siphoning, milking. It's a fucking scam. But it also works in other ways. Let's suppose someone's come up with an invention. Maybe it's a new computer or a new this or that or whatever. New, I don't know, fucking mobile phone or something. But whatever it is. And these guys, because they got a lot of eyes and ears running around now, these guys will hear about this, and they pay commissions to people in banks and finance companies to feed back information. Hey, take a look at these guys. This guy's got an interesting new product that's got possibilities, and so they'll be onto it, and they'll buy that up. Now they'll offer the guys some money, say here's a few $1 million, and we'll take it off your hands, and then they own that product. And then they'll sell it off to an IBM or something. And so that product that would start up a new business with lots of knowledge-intensive, well-paying jobs, that will never see the light of day. It'll be again sucked up by this network cabal of big finance operating at the street level, the micro level, and all that will be sucked up and will never see the light of day in the market economy. Now, more and more of the business that we're seeing, more and more commercial activity all across the Western world is being controlled in this way. And none of it's merit, very little of it. None of it's merit-based. None of it is commercially the best product at the best price and the most ingenuity, the most innovative. That's all being, once these cabals begin, all of that stuff goes. It's no longer even relevant. Everything is fixed and rigged and put in place, in an insider trading type way. But because the BlackRock have so much influence across so many organizations, including some of the biggest firms in the world, and again, they have such large shareholdings that they decide who the CEO is going to be. They decide so many things for the company: diversity, equity, inclusion, and ESG, and all these sorts of. They can bring huge pressure to bear. And if you're a CEO, and they can come to a CEO and do come to CEOs and say, "Listen, I want you to write up your compensation pay plan to say that if the share price hits $50, that you get a $20 million bonus, performance bonus." So that's duly written up, and they say, "Look, we want you to do this ESG. We want you to hire black lesbians. We want you to do that." And they just give the guy the list. You will do this, and the CEO, and so the share price is only $20 at the moment. How's it going to hit 50? There's no way we're going to make that sort of profit that would raise to 50. Don't you worry about that. We can take care of that. We'll make sure it hits 50. If you do what we want, we'll make. And they've got so much power in the stock market and over the trading systems and all this sort of stuff that they can walk up the price from $20, for example, from $20 a share to $50 a share. They can just walk it up on almost non-existent trading volume. So it hits 50, the magic number's made. That triggers the $20 million bonus to the CEO. Why wouldn't the CEO go along with that? Now, in a market-driven economy, in a market-driven stock market, there's no fucking way somebody could do that. You just couldn't rig it. You just couldn't fix it. But today they can. So they can guarantee rich rewards to people who do as they're told and follow the plan and that they're given. Now, that's at the big end, but at the micro end, it's like I said, these are the sort of things that are going on. And that plastics firm, wouldn't have gone anywhere. They'd be nothing. But because they've got a rigged insider trading, round robin cabal setup that's devoid of all commercial merit, then they can put these things in. So that plastics company has gone from being worth close to nothing to being worth big bucks today, not because they achieved anything, but because, again, it was part of a set piece rigged insider trading maneuver. But that's how things are now, and it is widespread across the whole Western world. It's why you don't see startup companies like you used to. You used to see a lot of startup companies, particularly in the higher tech industries. Now you just don't see that anymore because these guys are buying them up before they ever see the light of day, and that denies the West a lot of new jobs, new businesses, competitive businesses, knowledge-intensive businesses, well-paid jobs, and so on. This is all being destroyed by big finance. You've been a Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.